Welcome back, everybody, to Round 8 London Chess Classic, and we have with us the world champion and the world number one, who have drawn today in a, well, it's probably not your most exciting game ever. Would that be a fair assumption?
But it had its moments.
So. Yeah, it is. Okay, take us through the moments, because we've all seen probably up to move 414. Would that be fair? That's all been seen?
Well, I think even move 15 is included.
Okay.
But the thing is, I had looked at this quite a while back, and
that's my mic. Don't worry.
And
oh yeah, you can use that monitor as well.
yeah, I think I recalled finding something with Queen C2, so I decided to, and then I just made a finger failure with Rook F(c)(1). I must have confused something, because well, the funny thing was Magnus. As soon as I went Rook F(c)(1), I saw Bishop takes B5, Knight B5, Queen C6, and actually White has simply made a mistake. But then about 5 minutes later, Magnus sort of briefly swung his hand around the Rook on F8, so I thought maybe I'm going to get away with it. But then something, he hesitated, didn't touch the Rook, and then started thinking again, and then just hit on B5 and Queen C6. So I just, Rook F(c)(1.
I mean, what could do, Vishy, instead of Rook F(c)(1? What kind of options?
I guess DC5 is one option, and then just play against the isolated pawn. But the thing is, DC5, I think this could maybe be one way to play it. And the problem is the knight is coming to E4 very fast. I guess I just missed the point, missed some subtlety, and I wasn't able to remember exactly what I was aiming for as well. But so after that, yeah, in fact, White simply has nothing. So this is just a mistake.
What about after you, Magnus? Because you must have seen this position after before Rook F(c)(1. So you must have seen this before. Have you covered all your, or was this unexpected?
Well, I had seen well enough of this line to know that Bishop B5 and Queen C6 is a common theme. But I mean, there are so many subtleties here that I couldn't remember exactly when after what White move was. But then well, after Rook F(c)(1, I was thinking of Rook F(d)8, Queen F5, and then I thought Bishop B5 and Queen C6 would work, and then I was about to play Rook F(d)8, and then I realized why not do this immediately.
So why doesn't this work? Is this just a worse version for you? Is it?
Probably even this is.
Well, I don't have to play Queen F5. I can resume playing with the isolated pawn or something.
Right.
No,
so in fact,
of course, White does.
That's the reason this was more accurate.
Right.
Anyway, I was rather horrified to realize that I even have to play a bit accurately. Maybe Queen A4 also works, but
but it's a little bit dangerous, perhaps, because I go. Let's say I go A6, then takes. Okay, dangerous is too much. But,
well, I thought something like this essentially was the, I don't know, some move H4, let's say, and then this Knight B6. And essentially he can choose, he can take this pawn or go like this, then I go here. So he takes, I take, and then
you start playing
G4, G5, or G3, Knight E5, and it's also holding. But somehow I didn't trust myself anymore, so I decided to come back with this.
And then everything was exchanged off.
Yeah, well, Knight B1 is very forcing.
Right, show us.
I mean, at least here I calculated the consequences reasonably well. Takes, Rook B8, Knight D2, Knight F8 is nice. He can play Rook B4.
Then I thought you'd just go Knight B3.
Yeah.
And then
And now if A5,
maybe check, and I thought
Yeah.
just check. And
G3, A4, and now this check I thought is useful. King at 7, knight C5.
Let's say knight f6, rook c7.
Yeah.
Or even
Or you
A8.
rook A8 simply, so it should be equal. He went knight F8, and now this
What-
is important. I can also start with rook C8, I think.
Yeah. Well, the only thing white shouldn't do is to play passively with rook d2 or something.
Yeah. And I'm sure 4 versus 3 is drawn as well, but it's criminal to suffer like that when there's no need. So I think rook d6 might hold as well.
And then takes knight g5.
Yeah, and then king g2, knight e4, and rook f5. But
Okay.
and then some later knight c5. But somehow, again,
It's
it
not
felt
necessary.
artificial, so it felt wrong. I thought, okay, I should just nail this.
Just very nice.
Takes rook c5,
Yeah, okay, even.
and now I just repeat.
Yeah.
And there's no way he can
Right.
make progress, so we get to a drawn ending. I mean, if you really want to be here, you can play rook c2. I go here. Let's say d4
Yeah.
takes d3, and he's going to be the moral victor, if you like. So a little bit of groveling, and then I'll come here and then take them, and it should be a draw.
Right. So, anything else to say about that? Because that looked like it was the right result, and nothing major, no major news. Apart from this rook FD, so you might need to find something.
Yeah, no,
there.
it's just the thing is, I hadn't specifically expected this opening today, and I just got confused. That's it.
Okay. Magnus, any more comments on this, or you're happy
No, I'm happy, of course. Maybe.
leading the tournament still? Well,
Yeah, well, now I'm 1 point ahead of everyone.
now you're 1 point ahead because the games. Okay, well, what we could do is maybe just ask for a quick, very, very quickly, your thoughts on the other games because
To compensate for the lack of.
to compensate for the
Lack of entertainment.
in your one. Okay, so the first game that we were there's a couple. They're okay. They're all quite interesting. The Luke versus Vlad Kramnik game. We all felt that Vlad was doing quite well around here. That he neutralised any sort of initiative Luke had. What are your thoughts on this position?
Is that the current position?
Current position on the board
White to
with
play.
Shane Kramnik white to play.
Well, I guess if he doesn't want to lose the pawn, he's going to have to toss in h6. Then I don't know if Vladdy's idea is some rook f7 or something, but anyway, I think bishop
You might
c1
also
should be.
go bishop c1 instead of h6.
And knight h5, g4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. So this is an idea.
But then you'll have to, after knight e2 check at knight d4, you'll play rook a2, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But Luke likes such moves.
Well, he's already put a queen on h2, so rook
Yeah,
a2 can't
exactly.
hurt. So,
What is your?
I mean, Luke has done this before in the Rue Lopez. Just put all these pieces on strange squares, but keep a very solid pawn structure and
Yeah.
play a very long game.
Do you think?
That's
Do you
what
think
he
White's
does.
got? Do you think White's got something here? Do you think White's?
No, I don't think so.
it's hard to believe that white has something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think Black's okay? All right. Very quickly on to the next one then. We've got Hikaru. Now this is probably a very interesting game from a strategic perspective because.
Well, the main point
Let's
is
just ask people in the audience, does this opening remind you of any game? I mean, for example, from last year? Or,
this is, well, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's ask the audience. So.
yeah.
Does this remind you of any game from last year? Please say yes.
Not this position, but let's say after 12 moves.
Yeah,
Carlsen Nakamura.
that's
yes.
right. I think it's exactly the thing. Maybe the pawn was
Is
on
it
a7.
exactly the same position?
Maybe the pawn's
Maybe
on
the
a7.
pawn
I
was on
couldn't
A7.
remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm not sure.
I thought you had. So what's the diff? So this is this an advantage? This must be a bit of an advantage for Black to have it here, no?
I'm not sure because the pawn is also a target on
True.
on a5.
I think Naka was even aiming for this with knight a4 and bishop c3 and trying
Yes,
to.
he was, yeah.
So that might be the disadvantage of it.
He went with a knight to d7, but he played knight c5 at some point anyway. So.
What actually happened then after knight a4?
I was saying that, well, I was expecting knight e4 here from Black.
Well, b6 was played.
He's played something else, b6.
We always thought he didn't really want to play.
That's, well, it's a concession, isn't it?
It is a concession, I suppose. We were thinking about knight e4, and then where do you put the queen? Do you put it here?
I guess queen c1. He played queen c1 after b6 anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
You don't really need to push him to do it.
He just wants to come over here, right?
Yeah. Well, he's just aiming for a long game, I think.
Just a long game, and the current position, well, this is the current position.
How do you both feel about this? Would you both prefer white slightly, or?
I wouldn't have shunted my queen to a1, but it's difficult to say what I would have done.
No.
So maybe bishop c3, queen b2 or something. No, but then knight e4, you're running
But
into.
now black goes knight d7, and I don't. What's white next move, really? I think black wants to go e4 next, and then.
And then this looks
why
all
on
a bit
earth is-
silly, does it?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Okay.
These pieces over here.
Okay, so you think Nigel's...
I think Nigel is absolutely okay.
Fine, okay, all right.
And but I don't think Hikaru is particularly unhappy either.
Right,
So-
okay.
Sure.
So it's going to be a long one, you think, that one? That might... Okay, and then I suppose the most interesting from a tactical point of view, and it's a bit messy, is again David Howe against Leveranian, who played this really interesting Queen c8 move, which John Nunn said was played against him by Paul van der Sterren back in 19-something or other.
Have either of you, Magnus or Vishy, have you ever seen Levon playing the Pierce before?
No, not really.
Not really.
So he's played...
I've actually never seen him play anything else than. Well, I saw him once play c5. Otherwise, I haven't seen him play anything else than e5 in a classical game.
Sure.
We got into this interesting...
Yeah, I was kind of curious why he didn't go for this. Queen f3. Though I didn't see anything immediate after queen e6.
This is what Victor Kostner was here a few minutes ago, and he was saying that this was an idea for white.
Yeah. But the problem is knight d5. Knight b4. I have knight c7. Yes.
Yeah, but even
Maybe
bishop
something like
c4
this just,
shouldn't be too bad.
when?
This looks just crushing for white, almost, right?
Yeah, but otherwise rook f1, bishop c4. Or, I don't see why he didn't go for this actually. I mean, I was very excited about swapping boards with David, for instance, at this point. But
Maybe he needs to do something like knight b4 instead of rook e8.
So he's...
Just
just
take on f3 and then go.
just give the exchange.
It's almost like both players are trying to give the exchange.
both players giving the exchange here.
yeah, but I don't know if I'll take it. I mean, I might just go d6 anyway.
Probably you won't take it, no.
And just try to. Well, it seemed more interesting to me. I mean, I understand black will have resources, so it wasn't obvious to me, I think. But
I think exactly.
I was quite keen on playing this, but then this happened, and I don't really know what's going on. It looks like black should have enough counterplay, but he went bishop f4, rook a8, bishop e5. Well, white's king is a bit weak. There's no really. I mean, knight h5 probably is a reasonable move here. So
Victor Kostner was suggesting queen d4 instead of bishop f4, wasn't it?
yeah, that at least might win the pawn. So
All three results possible in that game, I suppose, at the moment. A lot of play still in it.
yeah.
Who would you take?
Well, I think
Just to point out one little thing, that black can actually go knight h5 in this position.
queen g4.
Oh, because
And
you
then
check on
d5?
g3. Okay.
Well, then I take on e7 and d6, right?
It's hanging on d7. Okay, I should just try that. Yeah.
Can you, sorry, Magnus, what was that?
What was that? That went over my head.
Knight
Well,
h5.
he won't play knight h5, so that if I take on c4, he has this knight g3 check. So I went here. Now this pawn is being attacked. b5, but unfortunately bishop e7, rook e8, d6 is going to be very strong. Also because some knight b5 tactics are now in the air, this whole pawn front is crumbling. This is going to be tricky.
Just to explain to the audience why you
Maybe
can't
black
take on
should go rook
c4.
f5 instead, but
Yeah.
not c8.
Right.
don't
Just
think
to
it's-
explain this check, was it? This is the point. Is that
Yeah.
he comes down here and he wins that one, and that's very good probably for black as well. So. So knight h5 and the other move queen g4. What did you suggest there, Magnus? Anything?
Well,
No.
rook f5 maybe, yeah.
Yeah. But
Rook f5.
I don't
I mean, I take on e7, but
take on e7, then knight f4.
Yeah.
White is better, obviously.
Right. Okay.
No, queen d4 was reasonable, I thought.
Yeah.
Queen d4. So, okay, so again, anything can happen.
Yeah. That's
Do you
early
still
days.
think white? Do you both prefer white in the game position?
I like black after knight h5, but I can't really say why. I would rather be black here with knight h5. I don't think. I mean, even if.
But Devil will go f4, and I don't think Levon will want to make perpetual check.
That could be a point because this would then only be a draw. And if he goes f4, it kind of forces your hand in this matter because bishop h5 is being threatened as well as bishop g4.
Right.
So some psychology might go on there as well.
Okay. All right. Well, that's still ongoing.
So possibly bishop f4 3-5 was not the best for white. You know?
Well, it's
It's hard to say. I mean,
Yeah,
I like queen d4, but it's difficult to say something
fairly
definitive.
solid to put the bishop on e5, and then well, it's a positional way of playing.
Okay. All right. I suppose. Well, we should say thank you very much for coming in. And who have you got tomorrow, Vishy?
I've got Luke.
Oh, so you've got Luke, and Magnus, you've got
Nigel.
Nigel. Of
For
course.
the third time in a row.
Third time in a row in the last round, and you've got 2 wins at the moment against him.
No,
Oh, did you-
the first time it was a draw.
It was a
actually.
draw the first time, was it?
It was a really exciting game at the end of Queen end game, and I almost lost actually with
Right, I remember that. But last year was that French, and it all went horribly wrong, didn't
Yeah.
it, for Nigel? Okay, well, hopefully we'll see you in here tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.